the people of Afghanistan are taking to the streets and how. They are protesting the terrorist takeover and they have identified the real enemy, Pakistan. Tonight on the debate, I have the Afghan envoy to Sri Lanka, M. Ashraf Haidari, taking on Pakistan. But first, the developments.
The people of Afghanistan, women and children have taken to the streets protesting against Pakistan. Posters saying Pakistan is the old enemy of Afghanistan, say no to terrorist groups. The support for the resistance in Panjshir is growing by the day. Pakistan is doing its all to aid the ruthless rule by Taliban, from the ISI chief flying to Kabul to declaring that isolation of Taliban will have consequences. Today, reports claim Ruhollah Saleh, the elder brother of Amrullah Saleh, was tortured to death by the Taliban. The Taliban that is backed by Pakistan. But the Pakistan-Taliban alliance will spell devastation even for Pakistan. And the Afghans most certainly will not be beaten and battered by the terror factory of Pakistan. Let's debate.
With us tonight is Ambassador M. Ashraf Haidari. He is Ambassador of Afghanistan to Sri Lanka. And we have Abdul Samad Yaqub, spokesperson of Pakistan's ruling party, the PTI. Ambassador Haidari, who is responsible for this? Pakistan says we have nothing to do with what is going on in Afghanistan. We are just observers. We have absolutely nothing to do. They say we have nothing to do with the killing of Amrullah Saleh's brother. We have nothing to do in Panjshir. What's the reality?
Well, the reality is that the situation in Afghanistan has not just happened out of the blue. It's not just this week or last month or 3 months or the past year. This has been going on for the past 20 years. And we know when the Taliban were toppled back in 2001, we know where they fled to, and we know where they were reconstituted and redeployed as the United States shifted its focus to Iraq and invaded that country. And as a result, the Taliban were supported in our neighborhood and were able to systematically take over gray areas where the Afghan Islamic Republic was either absent or weak. And this was culminated to the situation where the United States and Taliban under the Trump administration decided to peace deal that excluded the Islamic Republic, which we consider as a peace, but as a surrender deal, as a withdrawal deal. And administration came.
I have a little audio problem on your end. I'm not being able to get your audio back very well. I'll get my producers to check it in just a jiffy, in a minute. But Abdul Samad Yaqub, you played a role in the torture and murder of Amrullah Saleh's brother, Ruhollah Saleh. There is evidence of that which has now emerged. What do you gain by this? And you know that today there are widespread protests against Pakistan. You are such an enemy in Afghanistan. There are protests that are increasing every day. The crowds are coming back. Let me show you some pictures, viewers, where the machine guns were pointed at the protesters. These visuals you should have seen, Abdul Samad Yaqub. There were people there. You told the Taliban to come out. The women are protesting out there. They're being beaten. And then machine guns were pointed at the women, but they didn't stop. You've asked the Taliban to, if required, kill anyone outside your embassy, but there are still protests. There are hundreds of people who turn up outside your embassy every day. Do you feel the hate? Do you realize how hated you are in Afghanistan?
Well, I would say that these are
these visuals.
Indians.
No, these are not Indians. These are not Indian women.
First of all, listen.
No, these are Afghan women. These are Afghan women.
Listen.
No. I'm listening.
When you finish the question, give me opportunity. Allow me the full space so I can give you my opinion. In my opinion, first of all, the protest or demonstration is a fundamental right of any citizen.
Not according to the Taliban who you are supporting.
If Taliban, if they are trying to tackle in this way, I will condemn them.
But they're tackling it on your behalf. It's happening outside your embassy. What condemnation?
Whatever happens in Afghanistan, even if the brother of this Amrullah Saleh, if he had been killed, you will simply put the blame on the Pakistan. This is not fair.
No, but Sheikh Rashid, your interior minister, admitted that you are the custodians of the Taliban. I'm not making any admission without fact.
Whatever he said, you always
it's not whatever he said.
Twist or spin his words.
No, there are
Ambassador
Hydari, there are anti-Pakistan protests everywhere, aren't there? You must be getting the reports from Kabul.
There are few people.
No, not few people. Ambassador Hydari can tell you. The resentment is growing. There is evidence of a Pakistani helicopter that has been used for killing Fahim Dashti, the spokesperson of the Northern Alliance. How can you deny it? Ambassador Hydari, can you hear me now? Is the audio line better?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you, but I cannot see the picture. That's fine.
Yeah, no problem. We can hear you perfectly well. We have this ruling party spokesperson from Pakistan, Abdul Samad Yaqub, who says Pakistan is being blamed for everything without any reason.
Well, I mean, no one has any reason to blame Pakistan or any neighbor of Afghanistan in what has been happening over the past 20 years. So there's a reason why people call out some of our neighbors simply by virtue of availability of so much information. Even as we speak, you can go online and see what is happening and who's causing this and who's been behind the extremely violent offensives of the past 3 months, or the safe sanctuaries that the Taliban have enjoyed over the past 20 years. So there is no doubt and question about which country in our neighborhood has been supporting the Taliban or what has been happening recently. So we shouldn't even debate that. I think the question is how, moving forward, the countries in the region should collaborate and cooperate to help Afghans form a broad-based, representative and inclusive government, one that is acceptable to the Afghan people and one acceptable to the international community. I think that's what is important here. If all our neighbors, especially Pakistan, can play a constructive role, it's good for them, it's good for their longer-term national security interests. But if they're going to continue, playing games, that's only going to come back and haunt them, if not sooner but later, because no one in the region should play with extremism and terrorism, because that happened in the past, and we saw what happened on 9/11. Foremost, of course, the spillover effects in the region, but then also repercussions for the rest of the international community.
Abdul Samad Yaqub, very clearly the ambassador of Afghanistan to Sri Lanka, Ambassador Hydari, is telling you clearly that you don't play games. That's what you're saying, right, Ambassador? Don't play games. Don't play games with the international community. Don't play games with the people of Afghanistan. But most importantly, don't play games with the people of Pakistan. It's going to come back. The repercussions are going to... Would you like to respond to him instead of just denying everything? And as I speak tonight, there are protests right now outside the Pakistan embassy. Through the day there have been, and people are just saying that death to Pakistan. You are walking the thin line.
Arnab.
No, you respond directly to Ambassador Hydari, please. He's telling you.
No, I would like to respond. He has his own opinion.
Not own opinion. What do you mean he has his own opinion? He's the ambassador of Afghanistan to Sri Lanka. It's not his own opinion.
See, now the issue is that you have mentioned that there are a few ladies who came.
Not a few ladies.
Pakistan embassy.
No, not a few ladies. What I'm telling you is, let me tell you. The Taliban said today women are not human. They said the only job of women is to give birth. The only job of women is to reproduce. Go outside on the streets of, you go to the streets of Islamabad and meet any Pakistani woman and tell her that we are supporting people who say women are not human, whose only job is to give birth. Stop talking about a handful of women outside your embassy.
I can only condemn it. I can only condemn it when it comes to the women rights violation. I can only condemn it. I cannot do anything more than this. And by the way,
but you are no, 1 minute. No, why don't you no, what do you mean? What do you mean I can only condemn it? What do you mean I can only condemn it? It's your government.
What else I can do?
It's your government. It's your government. It's your government. You put it together. You were celebrating 2 days back that you put together your government. No. But it's your government. It's your government. Your ISI chief went there, and you were talking about the clout that you have by forming your government in Islamabad. It's your government. Why are you denying it now?
What government? If something happened in India, or if we object on it, if there is a
we're not talking about India. I'm saying that you
government we can only condemn it. And by the way, let me finish. There were thousands of Hindus who came to Islamabad, who wanted to come in front of the Indian High Commission. They wanted to protest, but
you couldn't. No. The thing is that you don't make up things. Be serious with me on the debate. You know what? Okay, so I'll ask Ambassador Hydari to elaborate this to you. Ambassador Hydari, you just said a while back that one should not play games. Clearly your indication was to Pakistan. What are the games that you would warn them against? And what are the repercussions that there can be on Pakistan? The problem is, I've been saying it to Mr. Yaqub, but he thinks as an Indian saying it to him, I have a vested agenda. I want you to say it to him.
Well, let's all stay very constructive and focus on what is important to the Afghan people. So I really want to stay out of India-Pakistan tensions here, but what is important for the Afghan people is the formation of a broad-based, inclusive, representative government, which must include women, because women are simply 50% of the Afghan population, and as well as ethnic and sectarian minorities, and as well as the former members of the Islamic Republic and others who wish to be included to represent the totality of the Afghan people. Because remember, Afghanistan is one of the most diverse nations in our region, much like India is, much like Pakistan is, and much like elsewhere. And those peoples in India and Pakistan very much want to be represented, and their voices to be heard, and their needs and aspirations and views to be represented. So the Afghan people are the same. They're not asking anything different from the people of Pakistan, to people of India, to people of Sri Lanka, to the people of the rest of this region. So that's where the region must stay focused and see what constructive role they can play. If they've been playing a destructive role, they should refrain from that, because we know the consequences of the status quo, a government that has now just come into place. It's still interim in formation, but it's one that is very exclusionary, and it excludes everyone, but includes just some members of the Taliban senior membership from the past, and as well as some recent commanders. And this was just put recently together against the very assurances of the Taliban leadership to the Afghan people and to the international community. And the international community is very clear on their conditions for recognition, and those include, again, a truly meaningful, inclusive government, one that encompasses all Afghans, and one where all Afghans find their voices, and a government that can move Afghanistan forward, move it out of chaos and violence and destruction, which the Taliban over the past 3 months have unfortunately wrought to systematically destroy the state institutions at the local level. And that has, of course, now culminated to economic collapse, affecting every Afghan as we speak. So those are the things that Afghans really care about, and we should all work together to help Afghans stand on our own.
Abdul Samad, let me pick you up on the first of what Ambassador Hydari said. He says you need to have an inclusive government. You're the spokesperson of the ruling party. I will carry it as breaking news. All Pakistanis will report it. It will be reported across the Pakistani media if you give a proper answer to my question. My question to you is, and the question is to you in your capacity as official spokesperson of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, that would you agree that you do not have an inclusive government that you protest and are angry at the fact that women have not been included, that various sects and groups and communities of Afghanistan have been kept out. Would you at least admit that? Would you make a straightforward comment on that? Or will you try to dodge that as well? Please make a straightforward comment on that. People are watching you now. A lot of people in Pakistan are watching you now.
There are two different points. One is if one is regarding these protests, or if there is any human law which is being violated, that is something else. As far as it comes to the human rights, that is something else.
No, his question was about the inclusion of women and various sectarian groups who have been kept out by the Taliban. I want you, as the spokesperson of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, to say that this is something that you are unhappy with. Of course, I would like you to say that. I don't know what you will say.
I have already made it clear that in my personal capacity, if
why personal?
Taliban,
why personal?
The better you get from the higher ups, or the one who is
what higher ups?
Who is the responsible for
You're a
these,
spokesperson of the PTI. What is personal capacity here?
I am a spokesperson of a PTI, but better for this official statement, you should.
You are looking like you're scared to give me an opinion. Okay, so 1 minute. So you're saying that you're saying you have no view on the fact that the Taliban have said that women are not human.
No, I said, listen, I am very clear on it. I am very clear on it. If Taliban violates the human women's rights, I will condemn.
You're fumbling, sir.
I will condemn them. Any sane person will condemn them if human rights are being violated by Taliban. This is very clear. As far as their government, formation of the government is concerned, that is something which we would like it that there should be, even the international community would ask them to have an inclusive government. Ideally, there should be
I am disappointed, sir. I thought at least you'll be able to speak up about what the Taliban has said and done to the women of Afghanistan, but you can't even do that, and that is revealing. Viewers, the Taliban has said that all that women are good for and all that women should do is to reproduce and give birth. Journalists are being dragged out of their homes. They are being whiplashed and bled across Afghanistan. These horrors are not being reported. On the other side, I'll tell you why.